Okay, we're good.
Okay, great. So I'll go ahead and get us started. Welcome, everyone. My name is Olivia McCuskey, and I'm with the Education Alliance. The Alliance exists to mobilize business and community support for public schools. We are passionate about helping all students build career awareness and be ready for future success. And one of the ways we do that is by hosting programs like this West Virginia Ready virtual internship course. Today, I'm very excited to welcome Paul Espinosa and Stephanie Reagan with Rockwool, and they will be presenting their training module today to you. And this training is meant to be interactive between you and the business, so I encourage you to jot down any questions that come to mind while Paul and Stephanie are speaking. You will have ample time to ask both of them questions throughout the training. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Paul and Stephanie, and I will mute and share my screen, and you all just let me know when you're ready to advance the PowerPoint.
Well, thank you, Olivia. Certainly appreciate the opportunity to be with all of you today. We enjoy our partnership with the Education Alliance and appreciate the service that the Alliance is providing to our students in West Virginia. I'm Paul Espinosa, Public Affairs Manager for Rockwool, and I'm joined by Stephanie Reagan, who is our Human Resources Manager at our Ranson facility. Here on the first slide, you see a picture of our newest facility in our group of factories around the world, and that's our Ranson, West Virginia facility. For those of you that are familiar with the Eastern Panhandle, we're not too far from Harpers Ferry, so literally about 15 minutes from Harpers Ferry. So we are in the eastern part of the state, at least this facility that you're seeing here. If you'll please advance to the next slide, please, Olivia. As this slide indicates, Rockwool was founded in Denmark in 1937, so we have more than an 85-year track record in the communities in which we operate. As noted above, the insulation we produce is used in a wide range of construction industry applications, both residential and commercial. We literally take rock, different types of volcanic rock. We melt it in a proprietary melter that we have, a big furnace that we have on site. We melt that. We actually create a lava stream and inject that into a high-speed spinner. It's sometimes compared almost to a cotton candy machine where, you know, with a cotton candy machine, you melt sugar, you spin it, and then that creates the cotton candy fibers. Kind of a similar concept in that we're melting rock. We inject that into proprietary high-speed spinners. We create stone wool fibers, we collect those fibers, and then we're able to actually make insulation out of it. And in this picture, if you look closely between those wood studs, you see the product. It fits very nicely in wall cavities. And some of the nice properties about our product is that because it's made out of rock, it's fireproof, essentially. You can literally hold a flame under it and it doesn't catch fire. The acoustic properties are great. If you finish a space with this, let's say a school, a hospital, even in your home, a family room, it really does absorb sound and block sound so that sound stays in the part of the house or part of the building where you want it and out of the places where you don't want it. Next slide, please. With the addition of our new Ranson factory, we now operate 51 manufacturing facilities across the globe, including our 130 staff members here in our Ranson facility. We employ a little over 12,000 employees worldwide, representing 71 nationalities. Our North American president, Roy Moss, who's actually based here at our Ranson, West Virginia facility, he always emphasizes that joining the Rockwool team truly opens up the globe. For example, Rory, he began his career in our Milton, Ontario facility in Canada, Eastern Canada, just outside Toronto, about 15 years ago, managing sales. Then he moved to Europe to manage our UK operations, and then he managed the Nordics region, including Denmark, before coming back here to the United States 2 years ago to manage our North American business. And again, this map, you can kind of see all the different locations. The little dots represent all the different manufacturing facilities, other facilities that we have around the world. Next slide, please, Olivia. Here you see a summary of our North American operations, which we'll be really focusing on today. As you can see on this map, we do have 2 factories in Canada, one in Milton, again, just outside of Toronto. Grand Forks, British Columbia is our second Canadian manufacturing facility. You can see it's located there in Western Canada. Our Ranson facility is our second U.S. factory, and it's really ideally situated to serve the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast United States. We are seeing a lot of growth and demand for our products because of some of the properties I described. And so having a factory closer to our customers really helps us serve them better, and it serves them more efficiently and more sustainably. We produce 3 brands here in North America. Rockwool, again, is our insulation brand. So that's primarily what we're producing here at our Ranson facility. Each of our other facilities do produce our Rockwool insulation, but we do make some other products here in North America. If your school has a greenhouse, for example, or if you're familiar with greenhouses, they may use our Grodan product. Our Grodan is similar to Rockwool, but it actually absorbs water as opposed to being water repellent like our insulation. And so it really makes for a very, very efficient growing media that those folks that do grow in greenhouses really appreciate. We also make ceiling tiles, which provide the acoustical performance that our insulation provides. Really great for, again, schools, hospitals, other environments where you want to make sure that you don't have a really noisy environment. Last month, we announced our purchase of 250 acres in Wallula, Washington. On the map there, you see up near just south of Grand Forks in eastern Washington State, you see that little green symbol that hopefully you see it, that represents a land purchase there. That over the next several years, we anticipate will become a home to our 3rd U.S. factory. We're now seeing a lot of growth and demand for our products out west. You probably have heard about some of the wildfires out west. That has really spurred demand for non-combustible, fire-resilient building materials. And again, because our insulation made of rock is non-combustible, it's really growing in popularity in the West as people try to make their homes and their businesses more resilient. So again, building a factory closer to where our customers are just really makes sense. It will help us better serve those individuals. On this next slide, you'll see a short video that provides an overview of our newest North American facility here in Ranson.
Since I started working here, my life has changed for the better. I have a way that I can provide for my family, move forward, and a job that I have a source of pride that I can tell my son growing up, this is what I do and this is how I make the world a better place.
Rockwool's newest state-of-the-art manufacturing facility is located in the community of Ranson, West Virginia. With 48 manufacturing facilities in 39 countries across 3 continents, our Ranson operation plays a critical role in the realization of our global purpose: to release the natural power of stone, to enrich modern living. Here, just as we do at all our locations worldwide, we will leverage the properties of stone, the most abundant and sustainable resource in nature, to help overcome complex global challenges. The insulation products made here can play a major role in combating climate change. They will have up to 30% pre-consumer recycled content and themselves be 100% recyclable. Their high R value and resistance to moisture will help increase the energy efficiency of the buildings in which they are installed, and therefore reduce carbon emissions for years to come. In keeping with our global commitment to leaving the smallest footprint possible, this facility has been built to the highest standards, with zero wastewater discharge to the environment and strict air quality regulations to protect people, animals, and the local environment. The stone wool insulation products made here will also help build safer, quieter, and healthier indoor environments. our homes and offices will be more resistant to the spread of flames in the event of fire. People can live and work in quieter, more comfortable spaces. And patients in our hospitals can get well in safer, healthier surroundings. And like all Rockwool facilities, this new Ranson plant will contribute to the economic well-being of the local community. Over 120 full-time employees have already been hired, and more will join our Rockwool family of almost 12,000 skilled and passionate employees worldwide. It creates new opportunities for local businesses and contractors to grow their businesses. And we contribute through our commitment to important social and recreational programs, helping to reduce carbon emissions, creating safer, healthier, and more comfortable indoor environments, contributing to the local economy, all made possible by releasing the natural power of stone to enrich modern living, right here in Ranson, West Virginia.
It's the only company I've ever encountered that in my interview process asked me what I wanted from them, not what they could get from me. And the management, the employee treatment, it's just, I've never experienced it anywhere else. It's amazing.
Miss Atkins, how did your internet connection there, your phone connection, how did that do? Were you able to see the video okay?
Yep, everything worked just
Oh, great. That's good. So before just talk a little bit more about our Ranson facility, thought we'd just pause here for a second. We'll just ask the students what did you see in the video that perhaps surprised you, or that you took note of, or perhaps that you had questions about?
anybody?
I will note that since this video was created, we actually have 51 manufacturing facilities around the world. Our Ranson facility was the 48th, but we are certainly in kind of a growth mode as the demand for our products continues to grow. While we are the world leader in producing stone wool insulation here in North America, we're actually the North American leader in stone wool. There's still a lot of growth taking place as more and more folks become aware of stone wool insulation and the benefits that it provides. That's really why we are not only did we build our Ranson factory just a little over 2 years ago, we're already beginning plans to build our third U.S. factory. In case you're wondering, Rockwool actually sponsors a Sail GP boat in the Sail GP series. You see that picture here on our slide. Actually, we've had, I think there's 2 races that take place here in the United States, one in Chicago and one out in San Francisco. I think this particular race, I think, was held over in Dubai. Beautiful locations around the world, but it's really the purpose of the series, and in addition to providing good competition among countries with these sail teams, it's really to help bring awareness to the importance of taking care of our oceans, making sure that, as we are producing products, that we're not damaging the environment. So if you ever have an opportunity to watch on TV, CBS Sports, I think, is the cable channel, typically where you can see that. Also on YouTube, you'll see some of the races. If you Google or if you look up Sail GP, you'll find some of the races on there. They're really fun to watch. I know my wife and I enjoy watching them. If there's no questions right now, why don't we go ahead and move on to the next slide, Olivia?
Okay, that sounds great.
So as indicated here on the slide, we're currently operating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week here at our Ranson facility. We're now actually up to 130 members on staff. Stephanie, correct me there, because I know you and your human resources colleagues are constantly working to, identify new staff members. While we are relatively fully staffed right now, we're always looking for great new candidates to join our team. We currently operate 4 shifts, either 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. or 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. We work what is, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, Stephanie, I think it's called a 2-2-3 schedule, where basically you work for 2 days, you're off 2 days. Then I think you come back on for what, 3 days, Stephanie? Is that how that works? And then back off 2. It ends up you work 15 days a month. So you actually get a lot of nice time, off with your families, and, just a matter of finding, either the day schedule or the evening or the night schedule that works, that fits your schedule best. They are fixed schedules, so once you choose, one or the other, you can pretty much stay there unless there is an option to change because of an opening. You can see some of the salaries there are pretty attractive salaries. I don't know how they compare to salaries in your particular area around West Virginia, but I know here, even the Eastern Panhandle, where we do have a number of major employers, these salaries are very, very competitive. Our entry-level warehouse production positions start at about $19 an hour. Mechanics, which typically are more skilled positions, folks that do have experience, our mechanics start off, as you can see, at $32 an hour. Electricians, always in big demand, not only here at Rockwool, but really a lot of our major employers, I know here in the Eastern Panhandle, pay well if you have some of those electrician skills, $36 an hour there. And we also pride ourselves on offering a very competitive benefits package, including health, dental, vision. And those start actually day one of employment. I know some employers require you to actually work for a period of time before you get those benefits. At Rockwool, you're eligible for those benefits, beginning at your very first day of employment. We have recently created or established a group technology hub here at our Ranson facility. I think it's probably about a year, maybe a year and a half old now. And what's really exciting about that is that our North American group technology hub, it will help engineer projects, like, for example, our new Wallula, Washington project. They'll help engineer that project. Any new projects at our various factories, we're always doing upgrades. They help engineer those. So if that's something that down the road, if you pursue a degree, for example, in engineering, we have just created a working relationship with WVU, where we'll be hosting WVU mechanical, electrical, and process engineering interns, typically juniors and seniors at WVU, that will actually be able to work at our engineering hub here in Ranson. And I think it's a nice program in that, we actually will help with your housing for that. So if you want to spend some time as an intern over here, we will, help to subsidize that a little bit to make it feasible, and you'll have an opportunity to perhaps see another part of the state. Finally, I want to share another short video that highlights a number of the key roles here at our Ranson facility. Next slide, please, Olivia.
My name is Keldon Plechka. I'm a process automation specialist here at the Ranson Rockwool facility. Hi, my name is Keldon Plechka. I'm a process automation specialist here at the Ranson Rockwool facility. I've been with the company since February of 2022. I started out as an E&I tech here. I then became the controls technician, and now I am the process automation specialist here at the facility. On a day-to-day basis, what I do, or what I have been doing for the past 2 years, is as an E&I tech and controls technician, specialized in troubleshooting and maintaining the facility, the electrical side of the facility, and assisting any of the operators or mechanics and such in daily running of the equipment that we have on site. So that would be whether it's troubleshooting using physical test equipment, or troubleshooting through a PLC or computer programming and such. I would have to take care of that on a daily basis. And then now in my new role as a process automation specialist, I'm focused on optimizing our equipment and how it runs to best perform in the production of our stone wool that we make here. So that would be optimizing performance, helping understand downtime, optimizing uptime that we have, and just how efficient we are at producing the wool here, and also meeting all of our environmental and sustainability goals that we have through improving the equipment, getting replacements in place, or just making improvements to our process in general.
I'm Casey. I've worked at Rockwool for about 3 years now. I'm a hot end principal operator. I'm responsible for training new K1s, the hot end general operators. As you can see behind me, the melt flow. K1s are responsible for the safe and proper operation of the Aquila to deliver the best product possible, so that way the consumer has it.
Hi, my name is Evan Lindemuth, and I'm a machine tech in the unit load area here at Rockwool. I'm also a trainer, and I started about 3 years ago. In this area, we palletize the product that comes to us, strap it, and hood it using the various machines. Here we have 2 lines and one each of the machines here. What I look for usually with my trainees is positive attitude, willingness to learn, and somebody that wants to strive and work hard, because Rockwool acknowledges those who apply themselves and who can do really well, not only personally but also for the business. I feel that after 3 years that having a position at Rockwool is probably one of the best things that I've ever done, only because they take care of you, you work hard, you apply yourself, and they'll definitely give you a good career path here. So if you're willing to come in and apply yourself with the knowledge that you have, no matter what background that you have, I feel like Rockwool would be the place for you. And especially here in unit load, we're always looking for.
Well, I think that was right at the end of the video anyway, so hopefully that gave you a little sense as to a couple of the roles that are available. Ms. Atkins, I guess a question that I would have for your class, any members of your class, would be, how does kind of the description of an insulation manufacturing facility, how does that compare, just the picture that kind of paints in your mind, how does that compare with what you saw in the video in the actual manufacturing facility here?
All right, guys, was that different than what you thought it would be? One student says he thought it would look similar to that. We have some of our robotics people in here. Have you guys had much experience? Were those robots basically machines being used? So it was robots, that's what we were asking.
Yes, they were robots. So we actually have 2 of the robots. Actually, most of the heavy lifting that takes place at our factory are by our robots. There's our technicians, our production staff. They may have to lift like a bag of insulation if they see a bag, for example, maybe the bag is torn or it didn't seal properly. They may have to lift like 1 bag, which is it's probably less than 50 pounds. In either they or with a partner, they can lift those fairly easily. But as far as like those big bundles that you saw, all of that's being done by our robots, and we do have 2 of those robots here. Also, we do use forklifts in order to load those pallets on the trucks and store them in our storage facility as well. So it was pretty fascinating. I know when they were programming those robots in order to basically be able to handle every potential type of product we have, every combination and so forth. It was pretty fascinating to see them programming that. And so now, once we're constantly during the day, we'll be switching from one product to another, to another, to another. And the robots can, automatically know, okay, this is what's going to be coming down the conveyor belt. This is what I do with it based on that. But all that requires programming. So those of you that are in your robotics program, I think you would definitely have a leg up on those type of roles, because those are the type of things that we need, or just being able to troubleshoot. A lot of the programming's been done, but just being able to troubleshoot if something does go amiss with one of those. So Ms. Atkins, unless there's another question now, okay to move ahead, Ms. Atkins?
Yep, we're good.
So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Stephanie Reagan. Again, Stephanie's our Human Resources Manager, and she'll take you through the skill portion of our presentation. Stephanie?
All right, good morning, everyone. So I'm just going to spend a few minutes talking about a skill that will be really important in your life. But before we get started, I did want to start with a little bit of a question. So adults can make upwards of 35,000 of these a day. Do you guys have any guesses on what that could be?
Can you say that one more time? Our bell rang for the first lunch. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. So adults can make 35,000 of these a day. Are there any guesses on what that could be?
They're thinking.
Okay,
There's no bad guesses.
exactly.
So every adult can make these?
Yes, so on average, so it's adults can make upwards of 35,000 of these a day. Teenagers might make a little less.
Good decisions, I will say that.
So not necessarily good decisions, but yes, decisions. So adults can make 35,000 decisions a day. Olivia, if you want to go to the next slide.
Oh, I got lucky.
And if you can just go ahead and go one more. So yeah, so some of the decisions that adults can make a day, some of them are very simple. It can be what to wear, what to eat. So as adults, we make up to 135 decisions a day just regarding food. But most of these decisions can also be really important and can alter the course of your life. So a decision is a conclusion or resolution that's reached after consideration, and the process of arriving at that decision is through decision making, where your options are evaluated and weighed. And having good decision making will be an exceptional skill for the remainder of your future as well. Olivia, if you can go to the next one. And if you can just go one more. There we go. So again, decision-making is a necessary life skill. It will allow you to efficiently solve problems, plan for your future, and it helps you avoid any negative consequences. Nearly every decision that we make will affect people in one way or the other. So it's important to be aware of the influence our decisions will have and understand what the human cost will be. We also want to be sure that any decisions we make also align with our beliefs and values. And if you want to go to the next slide. So there's several different types of what we call decision-making styles. So these are some of the styles or processes that you might come across either now or in your future. So that's analytical, and analytical is just how it sounds. That's where you analyze all the information and the options to arrive at a decision. Behavioral is where you weigh decisions based on information from others. So this is where you might rely on advice from family or friends. And directive is where you make more of an impulsive decision. So you arrive at a decision without having knowledge and just arriving at it using your intuition. And then conceptual, this will be more of thinking outside the box. So this is looking at the big picture and generating creative and imaginative ideas to arrive at a decision. And Olivia, you can go to the next slide. So there are some things that you can come across that can affect your decision making. One of those will be biases, and there's several different types of biases. A few examples would be like an ego bias. That's where you only rely on your own opinions and thoughts and feelings to make a decision. Also, confirmation bias. So that's where you only consider information that supports your desired outcome. You could also have what's called an optimism bias. So it is possible to actually be too optimistic when making a decision. So an optimism bias will occur when you have such a strong belief that nothing negative can ever happen to you. Another barrier would be lack of good information. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the acronym CRAP, but it's a great way to remember if information is factual or not. So CRAP is C for content, R, is it relevant? A, is it accurate? And P, what is the purpose of this information? So you always want to make sure that you have a plethora of good information before making a decision. Another barrier is a limited perspective. So this is really where you just lack the necessary experience. So you're just lacking a little bit of life experience, or your perspective could be a little bit skewed. Also, groupthink. This is also what's known as peer pressure. So this could affect your decision-making where you just give in to pressure and you conform to the decision of the group or what your friends might be doing. Also, time constraints. You might have to make a decision quickly and not have enough time to evaluate all of your options. So this would be more of the good enough mindset. So you made a decision that's good enough because you didn't have enough time to weigh all your options. And then emotions. You could be having a bad day or be under stress, and that can affect the decisions you make. So before making a decision, make sure that you HALT is another acronym. So make sure you're not hungry, you're not angry, you're not lonely, and you're not tired, because those can affect your decision making. And then the next slide will actually be a video of some tools that you can use to help you arrive at a good decision. So Olivia, if you want to go forward to the next video.
There are lots of ways to make a decision. You could flip a coin. You could follow your heart. Or you could just make a choice at random and hope for the best. That's probably okay for small decisions, but what about more important ones? It's better to think carefully about your options and consider the many paths you could take. With the right tools, you can learn to do this objectively, so you can make decisions that you feel good about. Here are some strategies that can help. The first step to making any decision is simple. Identify the problem. As an example, say you're trying to choose between two different apartments. One is cheaper, but farther away from work. The other is closer and nicer, but much more expensive. Which one would you choose? Depending on what you value, you probably have some idea. This initial response, the one tied to your instincts and emotions, is perfectly valid. However, you should also try to look at your options rationally. Start by comparing them. There are several ways to do this. For example, you could list all the factors that you're considering, things like price, location, and other amenities, then choose the one thing that's most important to you. With that in mind, which option comes out on top? You could go one step further and create a point system. Take that same list and turn it into a scorecard for each option. In this example, that means apartment 1 would score high on affordable rent, let's say a 10, but much lower on location. Apartment 2 would score about the opposite. Keep going down the list until you've scored every item, being as objective as you can. Then add up the totals, and maybe you have a winner. Looking at it another way, you could evaluate one option at a time with a list of pros and cons. It sounds simple, but sometimes it helps to write these things down. This time, it's okay to be subjective. Certain factors can and should carry more weight than others. It's how you feel about them that counts, so be honest about what these things mean to you. Imagining possible outcomes might give you some perspective on the decision. Say you're thinking about adopting a dog. What do you think the consequences might be in a month? In a year? How about several years from now? Making decisions can be a roller coaster ride. especially when there are long-term consequences to think about. We can't see into the future, but we can try to be prepared. At this point, it's normal to feel overwhelmed, even stuck. With so much to consider, how do you know you're making the right choice? There are 2 more techniques that can help you fire up your brain and trick it into thinking differently. Try this one, the 2-minute diversion. Distract yourself with a 2-minute activity that you find moderately difficult. Maybe you like playing mobile games or solving math problems for fun, whatever works for you. Believe it or not, you'll continue to process the decision unconsciously, according to brain imaging research by Carnegie Mellon University. This brief window of time helps you internalize important details, so you can make better, more insightful decisions. Sometimes it helps to step outside yourself and pretend you're helping someone else. Studies show we're able to think more objectively in third person. That's why it's easier to give advice than it is to receive it. If a friend or family member was struggling with the same decision, what questions would you ask them? What compromises would you suggest? Really think about it. Adopting a different point of view might help you see the situation in a whole new way. Making decisions isn't like taking a test. There are no right or wrong answers per se, it just depends on the situation. Focus on taking the time to think about your options and what you hope to achieve, so you can feel confident about the choices you make. It's not as easy as flipping a coin, but it's worth the extra effort. GCF Global.
Sorry, let me get back to the PowerPoint.
No problem.
Esta es la clave. Okay, sorry, I got lost for a second.
All right, so in addition to the strategies that were in the video, there are also some handy acronyms that you can use when trying to remember the right steps for decision making. So whether you use the acronym GOPHER, DECIDE, SODAS, or ICED, they all involve similar steps, which is to identify the problem, weigh your options, and to act on a solution.
Sorry about that. It's getting stuck on that one.
All right, so while Olivia works on that, we are going to start just a quick activity about decision making. But before we go into the activity, we can go ahead and pause and see if there's any questions, either about what I've presented so far or what Paul's presented about Rockwool.
No questions right now.
Okay. So for this activity, Olivia, if you can go to the next slide. So it's actually time to make some decisions. So you don't have to write these down. You can memorize these or remember them if you'd like, or if you have a piece of paper handy, you can write these down as well. So you are starting a business and you need to hire 3 employees. And from the 6 candidates below, you needed to make a decision out of those 6, who are you hiring? And this is all the information you've been given. So our 6 candidates, we have an entrepreneur who has started 3 companies previously. You have a single mom of 2, a 93-year-old businessman, a Harvard business graduate, a person with a disability, and a former executive of a $70 billion company. So we'll take just about 30 seconds. If you want to work in pairs, that's fine. If you want to work individually, that's fine as well. And Ms. Atkins, we'll just kind of rely on you to kind of take a total for us at the end. But if you guys just want to take about 30 seconds and decide out of these 6 candidates, which 3 employees you will hire based on the information that you're currently given.
You want me to tally them now, or?
Or if everyone's done, yeah, we can go ahead and start. So we can just kind of do it one by one, if that works.
Okay.
So how many students chose the entrepreneur who started 3 companies previously?
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 of them.
Alrighty. How about number 2, the single mom of 2?
Nobody.
Okay. The 93-year-old businessman.
2.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
A Harvard business graduate.
We have people voting twice. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Pick
they
their-
have to pick 3.
right.
So yeah,
My
that's
bad.
fine.
My bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 23.
Okay. And how about a person with a disability?
6.
And a former executive of a $70 billion company.
20.
Okay. So it looks like most of you would want to hire the entrepreneur, the Harvard business graduate, and the former executive. Olivia, if you can go ahead and go to the next slide. So now I'm going to give you a little bit more information. So the entrepreneur has started 3 companies previously, and all 3 companies have failed. The single mom of 2, her kids are now adults and they live on their own. The 93-year-old businessman is actually Warren Buffett. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but he's actually one of the world's billionaires, and he's the CEO of a billion-dollar company. The Harvard business graduate was recently released from prison for stealing from his previous company. The person with a disability recently sold their own startup business to Amazon for $500 million and wants to help other business owners be successful. And the former executive, he was actually the executive of a company called Enron. And most of you are probably too young to remember Enron, but this was a really big scandal in the 90s. It was actually a company that had to claim bankruptcy due to accounting fraud. So by show of hands, now that you've been given more information about each candidate, would your decisions about who to hire change?
Yes, almost all of them are raising.
Okay. Well, that's good. So a couple of things that we can learn from this is, one, you always want to make sure that you have the right information. So obviously I was trying to steer you towards making certain decisions. So I only gave you a little bit of information. So you want to make sure that when you're making decisions, you want to trust the source of the information. So if you're going to a family member or friend, if you're taking the information from, say, a medical professional, or even an article you might see on, or a video you might see on TikTok or Facebook, make sure that that information is, it passes the CRAP test. So the content is relevant, it's relevant to what you're doing, it's accurate, and that you understand the purpose of the information. And also, this is a really important, example of that your decisions can always change. So always make sure you're keeping an open mind and you're not set on deciding on, plan A over plan B, because once you get more information, that can definitely sway how you may, your course of action, the decision that you may take. So Olivia, if you just want to go to the last slide, excuse me. So like any skill, you need to practice good decision making. And so teenagers are not known for making the best decisions, and that's okay. Part of that is because your brain's not fully formed until you're 25. So that's why adults tend to make better decisions than people that are younger. But like I said, like any skill, you need to practice good decision making. So that's making sure that you have good information, make sure you're considering all your options, you're getting input from others, and always be adaptable and not stuck on one option because it might not be the best course of action. Right, and that is all that I have today about decision making.
Great. Thank you, Stephanie. And I think we have maybe 2 more minutes. Ms. Adkins, are there any questions your students have for Stephanie or Paul about Rockwool or anything in general?
Oh, lots of head shaking. I think they're ready for lunch.
How about time to make some decisions about lunch, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
They get a few choices down there, so.
Well, we appreciate the opportunity to participate today. And if you do have any other questions about Rockwool, you can go to our website, rockwool.com. Pretty easy to remember. And if for some reason, if Ms. Atkins, anybody wants to reach out to us with any questions, I'm sure you can reach out to Olivia. She'll put you in touch with us. If anybody's over in the Eastern Panhandle and would like to actually visit our facility, we have a nice brand experience center, which is a pretty cool room to be able to learn more about Stonewall. Would love to have you over. Again, just reach out to Olivia and she can put you in touch with us, and we'd love for you to have you visit us and maybe even join our team one day.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Paul. I really appreciate it. Ms. Adkins, thank you so much. And students, thank you again. And I hope you all enjoy lunch and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Stephanie, that was one of the better activities I've seen with students. That was really, really good.
Good,
That was
I'm
awesome.
glad. I was trying to do something quick.
Yeah.
But it's actually one that I use here with our hiring managers about hiring based on biases.
That's awesome. I was wondering, yeah, because that was an excellent activity.
Thanks.
Yeah, it was again, I gravitated to the 3 that the kids gravitated to.
Oh, I did too. Yeah, that was so good. And those videos, Paul, were fantastic. Were those something y'all already had done, or?
The first one, we did it right about the time that we had our grand opening. We did update it a little bit to make it a little bit more evergreen, but it's getting time to update it again.
Yeah.
Again, most of it's still relevant, but just a few references that are old. The second one where I went out and just interviewed a couple of our staff just to kind of provide a couple of new faces. Casey, I'd forgotten that Casey, I knew he had done it before, but I forgot that he was in the other video. But he's actually one of our melting technician supervisors, so he's in both of the videos. But no, just put those together, and they were pretty easy to do. And I always enjoy getting out in the factory, getting a chance to spend a little time with some of our team members.
That's wonderful. Yeah, no, they look. That's why I was curious, because they look very professional. So maybe you have a side business there to embark on, or I guess a third journey to embark on for you. But thank you so much. I really appreciate y'all's time today. And as always, that was fantastic. And I am going to take you all up on that tour offer the next time I'm up there, because every time I see y'all's videos, it looks super cool.
Awesome. Well, would love to have you. Would love to have you on site.
Awesome. Thank you both so much. And again, really appreciate your time, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.
You too.
Thanks, you too. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.